done is, we've looked, obviously, we have a great relationship with our contract partners. So we've reached out to them and made sure that they're prepared, probably more than we normally would, and made sure our staff is prepared. And when we can be safe, following our CDC guidelines, we're doing that. And we're just continuing to, we trust our team. Our team does a great job in all of our divisions, and they will make it work.
You had mentioned about, I think, 700 people are already in position, getting ready and starting to respond. Is that any less than we would typically see for a storm like this as it's coming in?
That's a great question. So it's a little less than normal, but what we can do, we have our western divisions where they're ready. They're still pushing snow out west too, so they're also ready, prepared to be moved to the east to help out if they're needed.
And then you had mentioned about replenishing the supplies from the last storm for this storm. Are you running into any challenges with doing that, both just from the weather itself and any supply chain issues that we've been seeing?
So it's been challenging, as everyone's supply issues are there, but for us it's been really good. We've gotten most of our supplies back to where they should be, and as I mentioned, the storm previously hit our western divisions harder than it did our eastern division, so we've been able to save our salt and sand from the eastern side where this storm is headed now. So we feel really good about our position today.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Josh Chapin at ABC 11. You talked about going out and having people get groceries and do what they need to do to prepare now, but what would you say about people walking into groceries that don't have anything? We've seen so many pictures, people sharing pictures of I saw yesterday in a Harris Teeter there was no chicken, there was no meat. Speak to is that supply chain issues? Is that panic buying? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Probably a combination of both. We've seen a significant impact of the pandemic on the supply chain throughout the globe. We've been taking steps here in North Carolina to try to tackle the supply chain issues. We just opened the Carolina Connector. We're doing everything we can to try to mitigate that. I know that can be very frustrating for people. I would say here with this storm coming, and if you are in the forecast area, to buy what you can. I also would encourage people to look after each other, particularly our seniors and our shut-ins who may have particular issues. And we're a little more concerned about this one because it's going to be so cold Friday and Saturday night. And if there are power outages, then we are concerned about maybe some families who can't stay warm, and we need people to check on their friends and neighbors to make sure that they are taken care of, taken to a warming shelter, or taken to a friend's house.
Okay. And just a quick question for Secretary of DOT. The areas around here, maybe the ones that were problematic, I know aviation, we saw the truck flip off 15501, or any of those areas getting any special attention this time?
So we're looking at all of our primary routes and interstate routes the same, but we will be focusing, as we always do, on bridges during these events when the temperature drops like that. But yes, sir, and we got great partnerships, as you've heard, with the Highway Patrol and the National Guard. It's been a great team effort on this event.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, if we have any questions for anyone on the phone? Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't see you, Brian.
I'm usually on the other side.
Hey, Brian.
Forgive me.
You are. You really are. You've moved places on me.
Brian Anderson, formerly with the AP, now with WREL. I had a question on price gouging protections. How can someone delineate between being price gouged versus being the result of inflation?
Yeah. Well, first, you have to be charging a price that is abnormally high under the circumstances. There's a specific legal definition in the statute, and I think North Carolina has a pretty good one. The bottom line here is we don't want people trying to take advantage of an emergency situation and gouge people. The good thing about our price gouging law is that it acts as a real deterrent. First off, most of our businesses and merchants out there are out there trying to help people. They're giving away water. They're trying to help their neighbors. It's only a very few who are the bad actors here. And I think our price gouging law has done a good job over the years to deter people from and businesses from doing that.
Compared to last week, are you more concerned, less concerned, equally concerned going into this week?
We're concerned about this week, as we were last week, and particularly the slick roads and people getting into accidents. We're also concerned about the power outages, and what may be a little different from hearing from our forecasters about this weekend, as I mentioned earlier, is that it's going to get down into the teens, I think, on Saturday night. So it's going to get very cold. And if you have people who have lost power, this could be a dangerous situation for them. So it's really important that our counties are getting ready with some potential warming shelters if needed. And as North Carolinians do, as they always do, let's look out for each other.
Two final ones on weathering a different storm with the pandemic. With regard, I know your focus is on promoting vaccines and boosters right now as the top priorities. Are reimposing any mandates to curb the spread of the virus something you're seriously considering?
We're in a different place today than we were at the beginning of the pandemic. We have different tools, free, effective vaccines. And the department and our state officials are focusing our efforts on getting shots in arms, but we're also focusing on trying to help people and businesses with testing. That's where the focus needs to remain right now.
And you've consistently said from the start of the pandemic, data is driving the decision-making process. Right now, are economic factors, are other factors now the greater priority for you?
Public health and safety of North Carolinians has been and always will be the number one priority. That's why we're working so hard on vaccines. It's why we're working hard particularly on boosters, because of the extra protection that they provide to people.
And last one, you've just called for people, we have to learn how to live with this virus. What does living with this virus look like?
Well, we know that a goal is to get what experts call to the endemic phase of the endemic phase of the virus. And like the flu and other illnesses, it likely will be around a while. What we want to do, however, is to get our population vaccinated and boosted so it will not have as big an effect. We want to be able to live our lives normally. Everybody's frustrated right now, and the more people we can get vaccinated and boosted, the quicker we'll move out of this pandemic and into the endemic phase.
Appreciate it. I'll move to the other side of the room next time.
Yeah, you tricked me. Anybody online? Okay. All right, we'll go to the phones.
Our first question is from Skip Foreman with the Associated Press.
Governor Cooper, good afternoon. With this being the second storm in 3 weeks, it's a trend that might appear to tax resources in terms of dealing with the different problems that come with winter storms. Are you taking a longer look at what might be in the event this starts to become a weekly or bi-weekly occurrence?
So we want to make sure that we are prepared each and every time, and we've seen natural disasters get more severe over the last few years. So I think it's important that we have the resources necessary, that, looking long term, that we rebuild in a more resilient way when we're looking at flooding and other storms that come into our state. We always want to be prepared, and we're going to continue to be. Next question.
Our final question that will conclude today's media briefing is from Daniel Pierce with Fox 8.
Hey, Governor Cooper, I want to ask you, in relation to this nursing home in Thomasville, to where 2 residents were found deceased by authorities, 2 more taken to the hospital during the last storm after inadequate staffing was found there. I want to ask, have you made contact with any of the residents, staff, or administrators here? And what do you think should be done to hold those responsible accountable?
This is deeply troubling. We must make sure that we're looking after people in these kinds of facilities, and the matter should fully be investigated, and that's what I expect to happen. Next question, please. Good? All right, get prepared, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.